Jingle bell, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse sleigh. Shut up!
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, Cassius Terrier.
When some wild-eyed eight-foot-tall maniac grabs your neck, taps the back of your favorite head up against a barroom wall, and he looks at Christy in the eye and he asks if you paid your dues.
Inconceivable!
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
And everything started to echo.
Yeah, well, we don't have magical headsets like some people, so apparently our production values have greatly increased. Did you hear that intro? It was best. It was the best intro. Oh, this is Crazy Chris, by the way. Hi, how's everybody doing out there in Radio Land?
What's Sonny?
And this is Topher the Hairy Bastard. And what is up, everybody? Happy holidays. If you couldn't tell from the intro.
Merry fucking Christmas.
Yes.
No.
Well, you got New Year's and all the other stuff. So
Yeah, I don't care. But Christmas is over, so
Yes.
that's. I am
Yule.
Yule. What? Chanukah, Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa.
It's all kinds of good stuff. I'm a 5-year survivor of Whamageddon. It's my 5th year of making it through. You know what Whamageddon is, don't you, Sonny? That Wham song is "Last Christmas to give you my heart." That whole nonsense. I've gone 5 years now during the Christmas season without hearing that song. So 5 years, I am Whamageddon free. I love it. I've not entered the halls. I'm perfect. You gotta when you hear it, you go to Wham Holla.
Except you remember it now,
Right.
Because so it's a self-defeating, self-fulfilling prophecy.
That's right. And every single year, apparently, Little Drummer Boy, I guess, was part of the Christmas challenge. I didn't realize that until
What Christmas challenge?
the Christmas challenge. No Whamageddon.
Oh, okay.
And no little Drummer Boy. If you can make it through, you win.
I can proudly say that I have not heard a single Mariah Carey Christmas song this year.
I think that I maybe avoided them. I'm not sure if I avoided all. I mean, I might have overheard one.
I've avoided all Christmas music.
I didn't. I took some risks. Krista loves Christmas music, so I took some risks. They were calculated risks. So we were in the car, and my radio's got the little identifier on it, so it'll tell you what song's playing. And we had it on we had it on like 105.7 or whatever the crap it was, and they were playing Christmas music. And I had it turned down because I had the kids in the car and they were talking. And I looked down and I see Wham on the display, but the music's all the way down. I was like, kaboom! Hit the button. I looked at Kristen and I was like, you almost cost me my life! And then she called me over dramatic. It was a whole thing. How's everybody's holiday?
Mine went great.
It was all right.
You got a new game for Christmas.
I don't know if I want to pop the top on the hate that I have for Epic right now.
Well, no, let's go ahead. That's what this is for.
I popped the top. Let's go.
Oh, okay. I got MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, the game that I've been waiting 17 fucking years to play. All right.
And how much of it is pay to play?
No. None of it's pay to play.
Oh, okay.
However, I went through an ordeal trying to figure out what was wrong and why it would actually go ahead and install. You know, I downloaded, paid for the game, downloaded it. I started the install. It would get to the point where, because it comes in like phases. It's like from 1 to 20 gig is like one phase. It installs that, then it goes from like 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, and then it winds up. It's
actually not a bad way to have an install
no,
run.
It's pretty nice. About a little over 100 gig to install it.
Nice.
I would get to 60, and then it would try to verify, and it would say that there's an installation error, and it'd give me an error code. It gives me a Fortnite error code.
Well, it's the game. It's the Epic launcher, so Epic does Fortnite. So that's
no. I'm aware of it. My kids love Fortnite, so
we tried. uninstalling, reinstalling, all the basic stuff you do.
Right.
You know, went through all this because, you know, I was technical advisor for years, about a year. So I knew the basic shit to try for this.
Sure.
So I do all that, and we still can't get it to go. All right. I emailed because you don't have a phone number to call.
No.
You know, you don't have a chat box. You have to email
Yes.
Epic's customer service. So I sent off an email at like 11 o'clock one night. And it wasn't like Christmas night. This has been a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So I sent the email. Actually, I think it was the 11th, from the 11th into the 12th, because the game came out on the 10th. So I sent the email at 11 o'clock that night. At about 6 o'clock the next morning, I get a response email from Stefan wanting me to try something. And it took me all of 5 minutes maybe to do that.
Sure.
So I do it, send an email back to him. 24 hours later, I get, 24 hours later, I get a response from Stefan. Okay, well, you know, if that didn't work, why don't we try this?
This is what's bothersome to me about email correspondence. Put all the steps in one email and be fucking done with it.
That is exactly it. You know, I get a response from this guy, and I try it, and I send it, and I don't hear anything back. And you know, I send the second. I do the second step and send it back. I don't hear anything for a few hours. I'm like, okay. So half a day goes by. I'm like, okay. So I open another ticket saying, hey, look, this is what I've been trying to do. You know, I've been dealing with this guy, but I haven't heard anything back. I'm thinking, well, maybe this dude, you know, maybe he's on break now. You know, maybe he's got a couple of days off, you know.
Sure.
Maybe it's his weekend. Shit, I don't know. Why wouldn't, you know, if you're going to do it if you want one guy, I understand having one person handle the entirety of
Sure.
the problem solving. But like what we did at Apple was you make notes, and then the next advisor can pick up and say, okay, you tried that, try this. So I'm going off of what we've done at Apple because it makes sense. Not you own this, so you're on it. Now, am I subjected to this dude's time off? You know, I don't know. So I opened another ticket to say, hey, look, this is what I've tried. You know, can somebody tell me what at least give me the next 3 steps or something? You know,
Right.
don't give me one thing to try that takes me 5 minutes and then not respond to me for 24 hours.
Right.
Give me some steps, just like what you said. Give me some steps to do, because something's going to fix it. So I send that. About 5 hours later, I get a response for that second ticket.
That's a little better than 24 hours.
Yeah. That says, you need to find your email from the guy you were dealing with to begin with, because this is already being handled by somebody else. And I respond like, well, I've responded to that. I just haven't heard from him. Can I get some steps? And they just went ahead and closed the ticket. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, all right.
The second ticket,
The second ticket. I'm like, okay, I'm starting to fume a little bit. Like, I went from, in the course of this whole thing, I've gone from, ooh, I get to play the big stompy robot game. Yes, I've been waiting for this son of a bitch for 17 years. I'm so happy I can play it now. Ha! And this shit starts happening. And I'm like, I'm gonna burn your fucking building down.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a roller coaster, bud. To the point, like, I got a hold of Chris, and I was like, okay, so this is what we've tried. This is what's going on. And we start trying some other things. We went so far as we wiped that computer of mine.
Wow.
And put a fresh install of Windows on it. Still didn't work. I'm like, okay, what the hell? So now...
Did you guys go, I mean, I know this might sound a little stupid, but I'm sure, did you Google the error code and just nothing?
Yeah, and there's... Well, go ahead, because...
No, that's how I did it. That's how I did the whole thing. Was just
Okay.
on my Google Foo was better than Epic's, apparently.
Apparently.
So we go put a fresh install of Windows on the computer. All right. I'm like, okay, let's try it again. Still doesn't work.
Same spot?
Yep.
Same error, everything.
Like, what the hell? So I hear back from him.
From
Finally.
Stefan?
Yeah, 24 hours later.
From Stefan?
Back. Yeah. And he's like, well, you know, it sounds like it's this. Why don't we check, you know, make sure you don't have a bad stick of RAM. Okay. So I start doing that. And that turns out to be the issue. But if you'd have given me like the first 3 or 4 steps,
I wouldn't have waited for 3 or 4 days.
right?
Right.
That was my biggest thing. It was like, so at the end of it, I actually owned the game for over 24 hours and hadn't had a chance to play it. I owned it for 3 days before we even got into it. It was,
Mad.
and so by the time it's all said and done, it's like we get it on there, it works. I get in, and I see, I actually get into the game, change the options and everything, play one thing, and I'm like, you know what? I kind of don't.
Don't you want to play it right
No,
now?
I don't even want to play now. I'm just so sick to death of the whole ordeal I just went through. And I backed out of it. I'm like, I'm going to give it some time so I can kind of
Cool
build
down?
up. Yeah. I'm like, God, it just,
Because right now everything is wrong.
yes. Yeah.
Graphics suck. Mech sucks.
So
Sound sucks.
So then I get the customer service survey. So I get the customer service survey.
Did you ruin Stefan's day?
Well, I made him wait 48 hours before I responded. And when I did, I tried to take into account, I've been on the other side of the keyboard, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it.
Right.
I've been it's not necessarily his fault, and I don't know.
You don't know what their process is.
Yeah, right. So I looked at it clearly, like strictly from this is what frustrates me at the core of everything. This is what frustrates me. Give me several steps. I told him, I said, I'm glad the situation's resolved. I was like, I don't know what your policies are. I was like, this is what I suggest. I suggest, one, that if you're going to only offer support via email, that you give several steps. Give me 3 or 4 steps to try if you're only going to respond to me once in a 24-hour period.
Yeah. That's minimum.
I also suggest that you have your advisors actually read what somebody says in their tickets, because when I open the second ticket because I don't know that this guy's, I don't know if he's off or whatever, I'm still having this issue. I understand having somebody take ownership of something, but don't just discount it and without at least a back and forth once or twice.
Right.
There needs to be some kind of exterior support, or give us an avenue to contact other than email, because this is ridiculous.
I agree.
I was like, I said, there's no excuse for this type of customer service. What I told Chris before, I was like, what if this had been Christmas and it had been for one of the kids?
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't hateful. I was just like, look, this is what's the problem.
The kids may have had more patience, though.
Well, I don't know.
I was saying my children would not have. One of mine would have probably had a meltdown about
Right.
it.
Well, no, I'm talking about they would be once it got working, then they would be like, oh, okay, and back at it.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
right,
would've-
okay.
Yeah.
My
I just told them, like, look, do better.
no, and they should.
Yeah.
Okay. So they own Fortnite. They developed and owned Fortnite, which is against my personal opinion. It is apparently the game of the year and all these other things, and it's a $1 million idea every single week. That they crank out the money like crazy because of microtransactions and stuff like that, which most of it's cosmetic. I'll give them the credit. They don't lock anything behind a paywall. You can do everything through the game, but they have suits and skins and all this other stuff that everybody wants to dress up, be unique, and so of course kids are going to beg mom and dad for money.
Dances.
Yeah, the dances and stuff like that, which is stupid. But, I mean, if you're going to put microtransactions in your game, at least make them just simply cosmetic, so that way a casual player can just go through, get what they want to get. They don't have to dedicate money and time and whatever. I've already paid $70, $60 for the game. Don't make me, pay another $75, $100 to get normal content like DLC.
To be able to win.
You're right. DLC.
Don't pull a mech where you're online.
Kind of understand making people pay for DLC. In some cases, you're getting basically an entire another game.
Yeah.
With paid DLC.
Right.
Like for instance, like Gearbox, Borderlands, they do their DLC right. The pre-sequel is the exception to that. It was awful. The Claptraps Insanity thing was fun, but that's really the only big thing they released for it. After that, I was like, I paid $60 for season pass for that, and that's crap. but Borderlands 2, the DLC was epic. It was amazing. Borderlands 1, it was amazing. So I just got the new DLC for Borderlands 3. And it was 11 gigs by itself.
Yeah.
That DLC was almost, I think the whole game, install was 70 gigs. And, so then I get like another 11 gigs on top of that. That's 1/7 of the game in a DLC, and there's 3 more coming.
Right.
So, I'm essentially getting an entire new game for the $50 extra I paid for all the,
Well, and what
DLC.
I think of when I think of like good DLC is some of the Assassin's Creed. Like Assassin's Creed 3.
Oh, the Tyranny of King George was amazing.
Yes.
That was an amazing DLC.
That's
package.
done right.
Holy crap.
That's what I look for in some DLC.
Yes. And they did a great job. And that's what I liked about, I don't know, have you ever played the Borderlands series at all, Sonny?
Yeah, I've got the first one or two.
Okay. So what they've done different with 3, or what they're going to be doing different with 3, and I'm not really sure how I feel about it, is they're not going to be releasing new characters. So previously in all their DLC, there have been new characters that they've introduced, which have had some kind of impact on the story, or they've been incorporated in some way, which is usually pretty fun. But apparently this year, or rather for this game, they're not going to be introducing new characters because, quote, based on their research, I guess, players will pick a character and they pretty much just stick with that character. I'm the kind of player that I will cycle through 5 times with each character and beat the game and level everything all the way up to get where I want to be.
Right.
So a new character for me it's bonus. I get to do it again with all the DLC. I get unique dialogue options and all that kind of stuff. So it's I don't know, it's entertaining to me, but most people are like, I get it. It's a grind to level that high. And it is.
But that's
It's
the
a
thing
slog.
But that's the thing is there are gamers out there that like the grind.
Yeah. I'm an old school RPG guy. I'm gonna stand outside the town and fight imps until I'm level 20, and then I'll go take on the first dungeon. That's me. And then I get around the corner, and of course there's an enemy that I could easily whoop that's like 10 times the XP level, and I feel like an idiot. But that's not the point.
Well, that's how
all about the grind, baby.
that's how the old games trained us, though.
Well,
Right,
like
you
the
know.
classic WoW, like you go kill boars until you're high enough level.
Right.
Then you go
was
to
that episode of was that South Park?
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna swim around in the ocean to build up my strength.
It was amazing.
That's the way it was. I mean, that's what we were conditioned for, and there's just a huge difference between us old school gamers and the kids these days.
Oh yeah, the kids now. Even my kids are guilty of it, and I'm trying to make them backwards compatible. trying to reel them back into the old school way, but it's instant gratification.
Yeah,
it's now. I want to be able to beat it now, and there is a large group of people that feel, and I feel it's correct, that games nowadays are easy mode.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
They are. Death is not punishing. There's checkpoints ever. Like even with Borderlands 3, like believe me, I got my ass handed to me on several occasions because they did not fuck around with some of these bosses.
No, like what kills me is when we were starting when games started, there was a few of them that were really hard and had no save.
Right.
You had to
Batman,
get all
Ninja
the way.
Gaiden, like dude.
Enjoy your 3 lives, asshole.
Contra.
Yeah. Oh god.
Because once you get so far, you're like and you die.
Yeah.
There is no way to go back and save. Like
I like the SNES. I like the NES Mini and the SNES Classic. I have the SNES Classic, and so I've been letting the kids play the SNES Classic, and I'm like, "You guys think the games that you're playing now are hard?" I said, "Hey, we try some of these." My
Mega
son,
Man.
well, this one's Mega Man X, so it's actually a little bit easier. But like the original
Well, yeah.
Mega Man and Mega Man 2, those were difficult games. They had password features now that allowed you to basically, and I've had to tell people this, I'm like, you understand the password feature was just essentially a colorful way for you to write programming.
Yeah.
That's really all it is. I said, you're just changing the code of the game to put you in a specific spot. I was like, and once you figure out how to manipulate that, you can break the game. I did it all the time with the Game Genie. I mean, I never changed. What? But my
Game
youngest, my youngest is obsessed with Contra 3. And he is bound and determined to beat Contra 3. I told him, I said, son, this is widely regarded as like an extremely difficult game. I said, we had the Konami code back in the day, but the Konami code does not work on the Super Nintendo Cloud. It does not work. You can put it in all day long.
Those bastards.
Work. I know. I was kind of irritated. I was like, guys, come on.
That's like part of the classic part.
Right.
Really?
So, or at least I haven't been able to get it to work. There might be a different way, like a different set of inputs that lets it work, but the original Konami code does not work. So, he's been obsessed with that and trying to beat that. Well, they also have Super Ghouls and Ghosts on there.
Nice.
And he also wants to beat that one. And that one will make him rage. And I'm talking like he wants to throw the controller rage. And it's only a 3-foot cord, so he can't really throw it.
There's not going to be holes in walls.
Right, he can't really chuck it. Thank God it's not wireless. Household. And then I thought about something. I was like, they had those crappy wireless controllers way back in the day. But thank God that Nintendo and Sega, they did not make wireless control, because those games were so hard. Our parents would have been so broke replacing those damn things. Now, the Nintendo controller, though, that square box controller, that you could probably murder a man with it. You whip it around and use it as a cudgel or a mace and just or Morningstar, that's the word, and just whip somebody and you'd probably kill him. And the controller would still work.
Well, I know when somebody hits you at the corner of that son of a bitch, I know it hurts.
Oh, yeah. You could strangle somebody with it, too. Yeah, we used to whip each other. Oh, my God. Yeah, well, some of you kinksters out there. Heard you like Nintendo.
Up, down, down, now.
I call this one hard mode. Sorry. I may have watched porn. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's
But now that we got everything working, kind of going to dovetail back to the game.
Full circle.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to figure out how to get the joystick to work.
Well, how we left our previous conversation and how you just entered that one, fucking perfect. Speaking of men driving themselves off of a cliff on a slow-moving vehicle. Oh, my God, I broke the mic. It's working again.
But, no, so you played, you kind of calmed down and got back to playing it a couple times at least. Yeah. Have you finally beat an instant action?
Yeah, I actually did the other night. And because I can't get the joystick to work quite right, I still have to program it, which I haven't programmed a joystick in fucking 20 years. So that's,
all you PC gamers are spoiled,
right?
No joke.
So
back in my day, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Back in my day, I had to write log files and upload them into the game just to get it to work.
Command & Conquer was on DOS and we liked it.
I tell you, if I had the money, I'd get one of those Warthog thrust.
The whole kit.
Oh yeah, I'd get the whole damn thing.
It's like $285 at Big Best Buy.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna wind up getting one.
Best Buy.
But that Saytech that I've got, I was on there the other night. I got a couple of things that I've got to do. I got to invert the throttle and change some axes around a little bit. It's kind of jacked up. But the instant action I won, I actually won with the mouse and keyboard. Aha! Now I dialed the difficulty all the way down to 1.
Hey.
But by
God, W is a W. I don't care.
No, he dialed it down because he's like, I'm rusty. He dialed it down to 15.
Out of 100.
Out of 100.
Yeah.
He dialed it down to 15.
Got my ass smoked. Wow. It was waxed by helicopters, and I was like, why is this? Oh, God, no.
What is happening?
I should have played some in the last 17 years.
I went online, and I was looking at trying to figure the thing, to help him with the controller, and one of the things said, oh, no, well, old school gamers, we like the joysticks and this, that, and the other, and it actually makes the game harder.
Really?
And I was like,
he tells me that. He tells me that. I'm like, it might make it maybe for everybody else, but no. You give me a joystick, and I can play the game with a joystick. I cannot play a mech game
like you're playing WoW.
I can't play it like World of Warcraft. I have to have the torso twist. I have to have the throttle. All the buttons mapped to the hat. I have to have a mini BattleTech pod.
I don't blame you. There's a degree of.
No, we're working on a full BattleTech pod.
Well,
Eventually.
yeah, that's what you guys were
goal.
just talking about. Was the thing that's at the Best Buy for what, $285 or whatever. What is that?
It is the separated throttle and the flight stick, like Air Force quality flight stick.
Really?
And then you got like the Mad Cat wheels for the rudder.
The foot pedal.
You have foot pedals. So does it actually use rudder control then?
Yes, it will.
So you can actually wire your foot your torso twist.
So that'd be
to
compatible with like flight games then.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they're designed for. Let's see, what they call them, the HOTAS, the hands-on throttle and stick. It's for flight sim, flight space.
I'm all right with that. I used to go to the mall, like the big flight sim thing that they had at the mall, or the arcades and stuff like that. There used to be one up Circle Center Mall, like the top floor arcade that they used to have up there.
Well, there used to be
that used to be where the BattleTech pods were.
Yeah,
they were built into the wall.
Yeah, I used to go into there. I would do the BattleTech one, which I really liked. It was super fun.
The Virtual World.
Yeah, that was it.
I loved that place.
But yeah, then the big huge pod with the flight sim. Like I'd get in there, I'd drop, I think it was like $2 or $3, which was expensive, when I was a kid, but $2 or $3. But I'd sit in that thing for probably about an hour and play and just do all the missions and stuff. Like people would be like, "How are you doing that?" That's why people get mad at me because I always invert my controls when I play.
Yeah,
up is down, down is up.
Yes,
I'm sorry, like when I'm pushing up on my stick, I want to look down.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm wired that way.
Well, it feels right. I mean,
it does. Like I'm pulling down, like I'm pulling on the back of your head
to pull you. If I pull back, I want to raise the.
Yeah,
yeah.
Which makes sense to me. I don't know. And people are like, "Well, how can you play like that?" I don't know.
This.
Come fight me in COD, and I'll whoop your ass. Because that's my reflexive. It's like I've tried so hard to play it like uninverted, and I'm talking. I went months without inverting my controls to try to get used to it, and I could not do it.
Oh God, man,
horrible.
When I say that I need to invert the control on the one axis with the joystick, it was set up to where like if I pushed forward on it, it looked up. That fucked me all up. I was like, no. I pushed the joystick to the side. It kind of creeped me out.
Especially
I pushed
on a
it to the
joystick.
side. Yeah, I pushed it to the side.
I can
mouse.
understand.
Like,
I can understand on a mouse, like you move it forward and it looks, or like you roll the wheel up, and it looks up. Okay, I can kind of get that. Or if you push up arrow, it makes him look. Okay, I understand that on a joystick, on an actual flight stick. No, I'd break it. They'd be like, "No, devil, it's possessed, kill it, burn it." Are you burning joysticks again? Shut up!
Yeah, it was kind of creepy.
That fucked me up.
But no, I need to go through and remap the joystick. I've got it pretty well. There's a few things I need to tweak. I've got the buttons are pretty well figured out. I just have to get the throttle to work right, and then fix the inverted, and then
the inverted and the perverted.
Yeah. It's
now you don't invert your x-axis, do you? You don't invert your x-axis, do you?
No.
Okay.
No, just the y-axis. Except
that would drive me crazy if it was like.
Yeah, we're not having that.
One of those bobcats, like a bobcat, when you push the wheel or you push the stick to the left, and it moves the right wheels, or moves the left wheels, and you're like, "What is going on?" Yeah,
rewire this thing,
right? What if life worked like that, though? That would be kind of cool. Like you climb into a vehicle, and you hit a couple of buttons, and it inverts all the controls. So you're like, "All right, I'm good now." Gas is brake because I'm left-footed, I guess.
Oh, and now they got everything hooked up like Wi-Fi. What if you're going down the road and you just switch somebody's?
In hindsight, that's probably why they don't do that. Yeah. Be like, "Oh, this guy just cut me off." Oh, well, you're dead now, stupid. I work for Anonymous.
Man, I tell you, that's part of why I like driving an older vehicle, because it's not hooked up to any of that shit. That's just me. They call me paranoid, but I won't be the one careening off a cliff.
It's not paranoid if you're right.
Right? That falls in line with it. Just because you're not paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, there's always a just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean I'm wrong.
Right.
So the we touched on the games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Series. So you finished Witcher?
I finished Witcher.
The game?
No, the show.
The show?
Yeah. Have you watched it?
I haven't seen any of the episodes yet.
Have you read the books?
No.
Neither have I.
I played the games.
That's pretty much my experience with it.
Well, I played the second and the third one. I did not play the first one. But those games are so well built, you don't really need to.
Yeah.
If you just take your time and get the story, and look at the lore and the tomes and stuff, you get pretty much the entire story. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's a good series. I was a little worried when I heard that Henry Cavill was going to be the one playing Geralt.
So far, what I've seen in the previews, it looks good.
Yeah, I'm satisfied with it. I think he done a pretty good job.
All right.
That's one that you don't notice. You don't know it's him. When you look at him, you're not like, hey, that's Henry Cavill.
At least Henry Cavill's Superman didn't have the Jerry curl.
That's true.
Just saying. Or Jimmy curl? What the fuck is that called?
What?
Jerry curl, right?
Jerry curl?
Yeah,
Soul Glow, or
yeah, with the little thing in the front.
the
Superman, the old school Superman's
oh,
always
the
have
little
that.
swoop.
Yeah,
That's just a curl.
That's just a curl.
it's just called a curl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you,
Oh, Jerry curl is that? Never mind.
Jerry
Yep,
curl's
I'm
the
good.
stuff you put in
Nope,
the hair.
stupid. That was dumb. Yeah.
that's like a perm.
Sorry, I had 3 hours of sleep.
That's
Forgive
like
me.
a wet perm.
I was trying. I wasn't sure you like Jerry curl.
I'm glad T's not here right now. She slapped the fucking shit out of me.
I'm totally gonna tell her.
I'm totally gonna set you on fire with your joystick. Invert this. Hadouken. Sorry. See, there you go. There's that old school.
So, Witcher, yay or nay?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I really enjoyed it.
I'm like
threw me
an
at
episode
first.
and a half in.
It threw me because by the first episode, it's not until the second episode you realize that there's a little timeline skewing going on.
Mm-hmm.
And when it first happened, I was like, wait, what the fuck is this? And it took me a minute. And I was, oh, okay, so we're just in a different... All right, then. You realize that through the whole series, there'll be different points where you kind of jump around and they never announce it. But and it's become a point of contention with a lot of people. They're like, well, I don't understand it. The timeline's kind of thrown off. They're like, no, if you put your fucking phone down and pay attention to the show, if you watch the show, you can follow this. It's not that hard. Just pay attention.
So none of this, where I fall asleep in halfway through.
No, you don't want to do that. If you fall asleep halfway through, you restart the fucking episode.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah,
That's why it took me 3 starts to do the first episode.
Yeah.
Because I'd start to watch it, but I'm comfortable. And
yeah.
I haven't started any new shows as of late. I'm still catching up on my wrestling, and
so
I'm just up to October, I think, in my wrestling.
So you haven't checked out the new Expanse?
No.
That was fantastic.
Nope.
Nope.
I haven't seen any, literally no new shows. I have Disney Plus, haven't even watched Mandalorian yet. I know. I haven't even watched Mandalorian.
He got really fucking quiet in here when he said that too. You didn't notice that?
Yeah, right. Since there's a new episode out today.
Well, and I have a Han Solo tattoo on my thigh, so I am a Star Wars fan. Hey, what time is it? Oh, yeah, podcast over. Everybody go fuck yourself out.
Today's the last episode for the season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You only got 8 episodes, so.
Oh, that's not too bad. I can catch up on that pretty quick.
And they range from a half hour to 50 minutes.
I think the shortest one I saw was 35 minutes, 40 minutes.
Okay. Well, that won't take too long. I could catch up on that in a day. I can binge that.
Most of them are an hour, 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
Like the Bill Burr episode, I think was 40.
Speaking of Star Wars, did anybody see the new movie?
Yep.
No.
You haven't seen it yet?
No, can't get. No, I haven't.
Explain. Segway. What's going on? Why? Okay, wait.
The 5th.
The 5th.
Plead the 5th.
Plead the 5th.
I have not seen it yet. No.
Have you not seen any of the new ones?
Oh, I saw the last 2 they did. Yeah, I've seen those.
Is it a point of contention that you can't see it, or is it a you don't want to see it?
It's a technical issue.
It's a.
Okay. You can't illegally download it yet. Got it.
Well, you can. It just doesn't work. So you're calling my ass out, okay?
I didn't say you did. I said you couldn't, and you said you did.
Ah, damn you. Hypothetically speaking, if I was going to be unscrupulous, there might be a
you're going to
problem
be
with
Han
software.
Solo this thing.
Yeah.
Listen, and I have just if any of the FBI's out there listening right now, remember that this show's full of satire. The entire thing, we were just being satirical. He doesn't even own a TV to watch The Witcher. He's never even seen the episode. He's literally reading a review off of his phone. So none of this is real, FBI guy. Put down your pistols, and it's not piracy. That's not what that's called. So just maybe you get off there.
Liberation.
It's not even that. What is that? It's not piracy. If you share it for free, it's not piracy. What is that called?
Charity.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it though, Chris? Did you enjoy
No,
it?
I liked it.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, there's a few things in there that made me go, but it was good.
I had. I'm not going to give spoilers because obviously we don't want to do that.
Especially since he hadn't seen.
Well, yeah, but it's kind of a failing of his own, though. I mean, technical failing, sure, but my real singular gripe with the movie was its predictability.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, what they did, how they did it, and the method with which it was delivered, I thought was great. And I thought they came back, did a lot of stuff correctly.
Right, but some of the stuff I called in the first movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, duh. There were some, like I said, the predictability of it. It was like, when you really kind of narrowed it down, you rewatch them all, it kind of funnels everything into this very specific path. And it can either go this way or it can go this way. And that's pretty much the only two options you have. So which one are you going to do? So, but I didn't like it. I thought it was a great send-off. Jerry, or Sonny, you'll love the shit out of it. You will. You're an old school fan, so you'll love it.
Yeah. I've got some ideas, and I kind of want to pick your brain after we're over the.
Sure. I would say absolutely.
Because I'm kind of thinking of a couple different ways they could have gone now, and I've got.
If you are dead on accurate, I will tell you if you're dead on accurate. But if you are in the ballpark, I'll just leave it ambiguous.
You're the king of ambiguity.
The ambiguously gay duo. Charlie Sheen's musical number was really good, though. Go ahead.
So I'm glad you went there because my brain clicked off. At that point, it was like, when you said ambiguous, I was like, ambiguously gay duo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Mandalorian, like the final episode's tonight, today. It gets out already, right? Like I don't think.
I think
it
it releases in the afternoon, like 2 or 3 o'clock usually is when they release.
But
So like when we started the show.
Yeah. After
I already watched it.
after last Wednesday's episode, or Wednesday of last week.
The holiday episode.
Yeah, the holiday episode. I kind of wonder the episode that dropped on Wednesday before the Friday that's the movie released. You kind of wonder, like, how am I supposed to enjoy Christmas with Baby Yoda in danger?
Oh.
I'm more worried about what happened to Nick Nolte and that fucking little frog. To be honest, because that little frog can hold its own.
I love how the Star Wars fans are like, that's not really Baby Yoda, right? It's just an unnamed species. It's just a blah, 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 blah. And they just.
Have you ever seen a vagina?
Right, thank you.
I mean,
and on top of that, what the fuck are we supposed to call it?
The child. No.
Well, that's what they're calling it.
I'm calling it what it looks like. It's Baby Yoda.
It's baby fucking Yoda. Like, eat a whole bag of dicks. I'm sorry, excuse me, we're on radio. Ingest a satchel of Richards. For all those out there who are thinking about syndicating us, we are perfectly capable of not swearing.
We just don't want to.
It's just a lot more fucking fun when we do.
The money's green. We'll say anything you want.
I will kiss anybody's ass for the right price.
I don't know, that throws us into the whole Gamergate thing.
Gamergate.
Yeah, getting paid to do reviews and that was.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying.
I'm cool with that. Nintendo wants to pay me money to give their game a good review. I'm cool with that.
Well,
I have
unless
no
the game
problem
sucks.
selling out. None. How much is your pride worth? About $1.50.
I don't have any pride, but I got some fucking self-respect.
Right. The way that I see it is, in the grand scheme of things, it hurts no one.
Other than the people who listen to your review of a game that sucks and they buy it and then they really hate that game and they feel like they wasted their $60.
Buyer beware.
Then they wasted their $60 because they trust you.
You know how we used to buy video games?
That looks like a cool package.
Look at that artwork.
There it is. Right fucking there. So I will start off, and this is what I'll tell people. I'll start off every review the exact same way. I'll be like, this is cool artwork. And that's my code for it's a shitty game, but I'm getting paid to not say it's a shitty game. Harken back to this message, folks, if I ever get to that point. I'll start off be like, first of all, the artwork is really cool.
Now I gotta want to go back and kind of look at different reviews and stuff that people have done,
and see if
just to
that's what
see
it
if
says.
anybody else is doing that shit. Because I've heard similar things.
I said there are people that actually review those games that will subtly suggest that their opinion is being bought, and they do it very well. Rabid Luigi is a dude from England. His actual YouTube name is Rabid Luigi, as in like the Rabbids from Rayman.
Yeah.
So when the crossover between Mario and Rayman came out, Rabid Luigi was a character, and Nintendo hadn't owned the rights to Rabid Luigi. So he got a free Nintendo Switch. He got a free game. I don't know how much money they paid him, but they had to ask him for permission because his name was copyrighted. So they had to ask him. Nintendo, for once, did not have the foresight to actually copyright something. But they went about it the right way, and they were like, this is what we want to do. This is how we'll compensate you. And they asked him for permission to use the name, and he basically said, he's like, I would let you use it for free. He's like, you don't have to pay me anything. They're like, no, we want to compensate you. And he was like,
well, yeah, no, because legally they have to.
Yeah.
and that's what he said. He was like, okay, he's like, this is what I want. And they're like, okay. They just gave it to him. And so he explained it in the video before he reviewed the game. He's like, if Nintendo wants to pay me to review this game, then let's get to it. I was like, that's pretty awesome.
Should ask for a seat on the board. I want this many shares.
I want shares of Nintendo stock because holy shit, Nintendo is rich.
Right.
They could. What was the thing that I saw? It was something like they could post $1 billion loss in every quarter for the next 4 or 5 years and still be in the black. Like that's fucking asinine to me to think about. $1 billion loss. You know who can't boast about that? Sony. Microsoft. Although Microsoft is always in the black because it's fucking Microsoft. But
Hey, what do you think about the new Scarlet? I think is what they're calling it. The new Xbox Project Scarlet, or what are they called?
I think you're right. I think that's what it's called. I've seen the PS5 specs, and I've seen I think it is the Scarlet.
Yeah,
I've seen the specs, and the allure that I currently have is the backwards compatibility with the PS5.
Yeah.
And, of course, Microsoft is going to have the same features.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a big sell point because, honest to God, I'm tired of buying new consoles that, like now we're starting to finally see the technical expertise of the PS4 and the Xbox One. and the 1S and the PS Pro, whatever. But you're starting to actually see it, and they're pushing the envelope with what they have, and it's still not tapped all the way.
Right.
But now they're just like, okay, we're going to release a new console now. So, you still got probably another 5 years left in this one. What are you doing? Oh, we're going to make it backwards compatible. Fuck it, I'm in. Let's go.
Well, if you remember,
you son of a bitch, I'm in.
they were releasing new Nintendos every 4 years there for a while.
Yeah.
You know, so that was one of the things when I first got out of console gaming and got into PC gaming. That's why it's like I'm tired of buying a new system every 4 years. I can get a PC and just upgrade stuff as time goes on.
Sort of.
Well, no,
Well,
you can't. I mean,
No, I had like, 10, 15 years life out of that Dell, which is probably 8 years longer than it should have lived.
And how much did each upgrade cost you?
Oh, I think I only had about $2,000 in upgrades.
And if you'd have bought 4 different systems, that's what you would have spent.
right, but in that,
Well-
you would have got 4 systems.
And
in
that's, of course, and that's, I'm still being a little generous with that because not every system was $500.
Right.
So I 100% understand where PC gamers come from with that, and I get it. And the range of the types of games that are more enjoyable on a PC are greater. My big thing is I can't get into first-person shooters, which I love that genre. Like RPGs and shit like that, I hate WoW, but that's beside the point. But RPGs and stuff like that, like Final Fantasy, was actually super fun. Final Fantasy 14 was actually super fun on the PC.
Yeah.
I played that for a while. I tried to play it on the PS4. Did not have a good feel to it. But the minute I put it on a PC, I was like, this feels correct. I like this. This is a lot better. But funny thing about the consoles and cartridges and discs and all that crazy shit is I think a Blu-ray discs can only hold, it's like 80, 84 or 90 gigs, something like that. Like it's less than 100 gigs. And everybody criticized Nintendo in the 90s for sticking with cartridges. Yeah. Because they, CDs are the way to go, and DVDs, and now they got Blu-rays, and blah, 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 and on and on and on and on. All this fucking bullshit, right? Mm-hmm. And so Nintendo was like, no, we're going to stick with cartridges for a while. And they stuck with it probably longer than they should have, and then they switched to disc format, and that's where they stayed for a while. Then the Switch came out, and it's cartridge-based again. And everybody's like, well, who to go back to cartridge-based for? Those little fucking cartridges can hold a ridiculous amount of memory. So most of your base ones are 128 gigs to start in a cartridge, which is essentially it's just a USB. Yeah. That's all it is.
Well, the cartridges when they first came out, those they took up that much room.
Yeah, tiny little things
out of that whole big cartridge.
Yep,
that much room was the actual memory. Imagine if they loaded that thing full.
Yeah, and that's kind of what their point is. You have memory sticks now, USB's memory sticks that you can actually take that have almost 500 gigs. And so Nintendo's entire thing was they're like, yeah, CDs are the way to go, huh? Big middle fingers. Who's laughing now? We've been working on this for years. We knew it was where it was going to go. And by the way, we already had all the patents for all of it. We didn't have to do shit. Didn't have to redevelop anything. All right, Chris just handed me a box, and no, not the good kind. Looks like a controller of some sort.
That is how you make first-person shooters work on...
Oh, on PC? Oh, okay. That makes sense. And that's what I've never gotten into. So it's it's essentially it's an Xbox controller is essentially what it is. It's not a Microsoft cert controller. It's a Easy SMX. So.
Yeah, it is a cheap one,
But this would make my life a lot easier. And I think that's part of the problem too is I'm so far into PC or I'm so far into consoles at this point that it would literally cost me an arm and a leg to get into PC gaming. And I just don't want to. I don't want to spend the money.
You can actually get a good PC built for you.
Relatively cheap, I know.
For the price of a console.
So I understand computers and how they work and how to build them and all that shit. I mean, I could... $500, $600, I could have a good one. My gaming laptop, I had the Lenovo G505S. And it was actually, well, Jeff the producer, had his Alienware laptop. And we ran Final Fantasy together at the house. Same internet. And his clocked, we clocked them. His clocked 0.002 faster than mine. 0.002 2 thousandths of a second
For 3 times the price.
for 3 times the amount of money that I spent on my. I had never. You ever want to see Jeff pissed? That was Jeff pissed.
Well, anytime you buy an Alienware, you're just buying the damn name.
You are
anyway.
buying it
Right.
now. Their new one that they have, their new gaming laptop, is the tits. It is just fucking amazing. It's like I'm gonna say it's $1,900 or something like that. It's a game. It's a laptop.
Yeah.
And it's phenomenal looking. It looks cool. I guess the specs on it are like brand new gen specs. Like it's stupid. Supposedly, it's going to. If you buy it, it'll last. Like you don't have to do any upgrades on it for at least the next 5 years. Like that's how advanced it is.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. I got to play with it a little bit.
Well, I know the one thing that kind of scared me a little bit, I got to looking at, because I don't understand the numerical sequence of video cards anymore. You know?
It used to be easy.
Yeah, it used to be easy. Now it's not. And I looked them up, and I'm just like, there's the top of the line video card now is like what, $12,000?
Yeah,
I'm
something
like,
that.
no,
Well, you know why they're so expensive nowadays?
I have no idea.
Because people are mining Bitcoin with them.
They're what?
They're using multiple GPUs and multiple video cards to data mine Bitcoin.
I don't even know what the hell that is.
Cryptocurrency?
Yeah, electronic.
Well,
currency.
I know what cryptocurrency is.
Oh, you
Like,
mean the data mining? Okay, I got you.
Yeah, basically, they're using all of the power to create blockchains or whatever to make Bitcoin.
To make Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I don't understand how Bitcoin works, but
That's why you're
whatever.
not a Bitcoin millionaire.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah, it's really stupid, and it's going to crash just like every other crypto market has
Well,
crashed.
I
and
thought
it's-
Bitcoin would. I knew that it was some outrageous amount of money before, but I thought it'd come down to like
It's
real
about-
cheap.
pennies on the dollar.
Well, right
Yeah.
now it's about. Last time I checked, it was like $700 for a Bitcoin.
Yeah, and it used to be like what, 700,000 or something nuts.
No, it wasn't that much.
Like 1,500 was the
Yeah,
the highest
something like
it
that.
got.
It went above gold.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
It was
thought
worth more
about
than gold,
$1 million.
yeah, because that was a big deal in the market. And then, but whenever you have that, and this is people who understand economics will understand that it's a market reset. Whenever that happens, whenever you have a brand new thing that comes in and like hits these historical highs and all that, automatically there's a tail end, and it will come back down. It's an inevitability, and it's because people won't continue to invest in it. They'll be like, that's too high, and then they'll back off.
Yeah.
And they'll wait for the price to come back down, and inevitably the market resets and corrects itself. So that at some point it was gonna crash, and then it didn't really crash, but it's essentially because it has no basis of value, because it has nothing backing it. It can't technically be worth any money. There's no promissory if you can't pay. So unless they can find a way to generate real currency to back up Bitcoin, then it has no value.
Well, the fact that you use a computer to mine, it's literally what they call it, mining Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, how do you mine Bitcoin? What is there a Bitcoin mine out there, and the computers march off to work? What the hell is? I don't understand how this shit works. Like,
Well, no, it's basically you get this big fancy computer, you plug it in, you get it set to doing whatever, and it just makes Bitcoin.
what is Bitcoin? It makes it like like it writes code or
Yeah,
what?
I
I mean,
guess.
Essentially.
Essentially.
So
that doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm trying to find a way to actually explain this like a very easy way.
Hookers don't take Bitcoin, so it's fine.
Well, they do in Vegas.
They do, yeah. They sure as fuck do.
No shit.
Yes, they sure do, man. And the hookers that you'd buy off
and
of
PayPal takes Bitcoin too. So
yes, it does. I said Bitcoin is somehow it's considered a currency. It's a recognized worldwide currency currently.
Like the euro.
It's essentially actually more valuable, quote, more valuable than the euro.
Well, that's not hard.
It's dumb. Like I said, it's due for a market correction. It's coming.
But that is why the top of the line video cards, because that's what they use in those machines to do it, are so expensive because every time they come up on for sale, they just get bought out by people doing this.
Okay.
So, and then like by the time it's lived its cycle, like it's pretty much trashed the GPU. There's nothing. I mean, you can put it in it's kind of on the last legs, but you can't really do much.
Okay. Well, I didn't need a $12,000 fucking video card anyway.
No,
I'm thinking like 500 tops. Tops. I don't like spending more than $200 for video cards.
I was going to say, last time I went video card shopping was a long time ago, and they were about $400 or $500.
Yeah.
But that was because, video cards were the big thing, and
I was happy with the 121.
you can get a good video
one.
card. Ashley wanted the best for her computer, and it was essentially, she built it like 97 or 98, and played it till the wheels fell off, and then she was like, "I'll replace the motherboard." Essentially, it was the shell was exactly the same, but nothing inside was the same. She had like wires coming out of the back of it, like bricks coming out. I was like, "What is that?" It's like Frankenstein. It's my Frankenstein tower. Yeah, it sure is.
Shit, my Dell.
Is that a human body in there? The brain's got the best processing speed. That's the next step, by the way. They're going to be like, here, we built mini brains that you could stick in your computer.
Well, I was watching a documentary last night. They're talking about quantum computing and how it'll, currently every 3 years it doubles.
Yeah.
So, by like, I don't know, 28, I think they said that, we'd be looking at like quantum computing. And I figured that was a fair estimate, but we're probably closer to it now than
Yeah.
that. But I don't know. To come back around to it, I asked about the new Xbox because hell,
Yeah, we definitely tangented the
yeah,
fuck out of that, didn't we?
We took a hard left on that one. I asked about the Xbox because like my kids were looking at. They went ahead and they got a PS4
Right.
for Christmas, so they just got into the 4, and I was kicking around the idea of maybe picking up a 4 or a 5 but I don't know whether to do that or do the next Xbox because it'll come out this time next year. It'll be out for Christmas.
It just honestly depends on what kind of games you want.
The new Xbox, by the way, I seen the case for it.
Is that really the case though? Because it looks like a little humidifier. Tower.
It's a little square tower. They were talking about how it was just basically they're getting this much closer to just merging the two into just being a PC.
Well, and one of the things that they'd said, Microsoft said, we're not going to try to do an entire like center a home entertainment thing like they did with the Xbox One. It's going to be strictly for games.
So it's literally like about the size of the base of
yeah,
this
it's the
thing.
size of a mini LAN tower, like which is cool. I mean, I always wanted one of those little LAN towers for when we were all playing, shit.
all the old games.
God, yeah, Delta Force, Land Warrior, Counter Strike.
I think
Team
what we're
Fortress
pushing
2.
for more than anything else between PlayStation and Xbox is cloud-based service.
They're pretty much. I mean, they're getting pretty close to being that.
Xbox is still they're in their beta right now for a cloud-based, and it's
You know what will
if it's
suck, though?
successful, then it's
Here's the problem with that though. You no matter what you do, you have data limits on.
Yeah.
Even if you have like the big fancy Comcast or Cox or whatever, wherever you're at, you look at your thing. You have a data limit.
Oh, I know.
So like, he pegged ours
That
when
would
he
be
moved
so.
in.
Here's how that's going to work.
Like-
I'll actually 100% explain how that can actually work. So what'll occur at that point is if
Elon
these
Musk
big
to the
gaming
rescue.
companies, right? These big gaming
Batman.
companies are going to enter into a cloud market, okay? And if they decide to do that, the only way that works, especially with the limitations that you just gave out,
Start their own cellular.
there it is, and it works through it as long as you have internet, or they'll enter into some agreement with Comcast and Xfinity, any major cable provider.
Disney buys Verizon.
distance. I mean, okay. I saw that. By the way, that whole string was hysterical. But essentially, these conglomerates, these giants, will make some type of deal that states, we will give you, meaning Comcast or Cox or Turner or whoever, we will give you X amount of money per year in order for you to completely open your
floodgates.
Yep, open the floodgates for this. Allow it to stay open only for this service, because they can restrict and refine service. Mm-hmm. It's 100% within their capability. So all they have to do is bang, bang, bang. Here's the domain. It stays open. It never closes. You log in. Your Xbox or your PlayStation connects to that domain. Boom. Now you have unlimited, quote, unlimited data through only that domain. Now, people will figure out how to use that data in another way, but that falls on Comcast and Sony to restrict that the best they can.
But so like here's an example. For those of you who don't know, I moved. I'm no longer. I'm come up for the holiday.
I come out that this man thing. I'm that swamp.
Cajun bastard.
But so I moved down to Louisiana, and I'm outside. I live out in the country down there. I had two choices of internet service because Cox stopped across the highway. I literally see the last house on the line.
Yeah, I know.
Phrasing.
Yeah.
Where's our bumper? Where's our bumper?
But so I have two choices. I have HughesNet, which says I can't play any live action or like any FPS game.
Sure.
Because of the latency.
You cock! I can't help it. You cock! Oh God! I can't help it. I went 12 for a minute. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Because that's satellite. So that's
Freaking guy.
Huge cock stopped across the highway.
So the satellite internet provider says that you have 20 gigs.
That's it.
And then we throttle the bandwidth down to where you're like at 3 meg.
Comcast throttles ours, and for instance, when I'm downloading Borderlands and it's cycling through, I've already hit my limit for the month. We're throttled all the time now, but I was using the internet to download the new update and the new DLC, and it gets to about 6.5, 7 gigs, and it just like a truck slowing down.
Well, see, Xfinity normally has like a terabyte is your gap. Well, he filled a terabyte and a half up on just
you remember
downloading
people used to
brand
say,
new games.
you could never do that much in a lifetime.
Hold my beer.
20 Xbox games on the Xbox One S.
There it is.
Yeah.
Was it the One S or was it the One X?
The teraflops.
S, because you talked me out of the X, you bastard. Should have spent the money on the X.
But
the Xbox One S is what you have? Was there a One X?
Yeah, it's the
It was
4K
Xbox X.
fancy.
Or the 10.
I thought the One S was the fancy one with the 4K.
No, that's the X. The S is the reissued, the different.
That's
It's
right.
the
It's
white
like the
box.
slim,
Yeah,
whatever.
and it's white.
That's right.
But like so that's the terabyte is the thing, and they keep you open, but they just charge you $50 for every 10 gigs or 50 gigs or whatever you go over. So it was like with a max of $200 is what the
I'm glad they capped that.
No shit.
But the same goes that like the other that I have is the direct site line of sight internet. There's the only other option that I have down there.
It's called line of sight internet.
Well, no,
that would just scare me away 100%. I'm like, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
But
I got tone. You can watch porn.
But no, basically, it's a receiver that points at a tower, and it's wireless
from tower to tower.
From tower to your.
Okay.
So it's line of sight as long as your little device can.
So it's
see
accurate.
the tower.
It literally is accurate line of sight as long as you're not past the curvature of the earth.
Yeah, just
well, as long as you don't have like trees in the way or this, that, and the other. You're like. But so that's the two options that I have. and all of them require,
Right.
like the line of sight doesn't have the like 20 gigs, and then we throttle you down. It's like a terabyte,
Nice.
but it's still.
If anything gets if a fucking box truck parks in front of your house, you're fucked for the day.
Hey,
what are you gonna move today?
just set it on fire, burn it to the ground. It'll get over it.
Right. We could throw his joystick right in there with it. No, but yeah, it'll throttle like once I hit a certain threshold of, and it's usually in a sitting. So I can do 500 in a day, and it doesn't have a problem with that
If you do a little bit.
if I do a little bit at a time. But if I do it all at once, Mother of God, you'd think that I had just declared war on China because they come at me full, the whole truck silent down thing, and I'll call them. I will flat call them, and I'm like, look, I know you're throttling me. Unthrottle my shit, or I'm going to come down to your office and I'm going to raise hell. And they're like, well, we're not throttling you. I'm like, okay, let me explain to you what's going on right now. Okay, maybe you can't fix it, but somebody up there in your office can fix it. Stop throttling my shit. Just stop. I'm in the
literally
middle of
watching
download.
you.
Like, I don't think you guys understand how information works anymore. We're not on megs anymore. 90% of what anybody does on a daily basis is not based in megs. It's based in gigs. Hell, most of the time it says 0.05 gigs. It doesn't even say megs anymore because megs is such an old commodity. So, for the love of God, please understand that I'm downloading an update for my PlayStation, and I'm trying to download a new thing. Well, is your internet working? I'm like, okay, I have not moved my machine in 5.5 months. And it was just fine up until about 30 seconds ago when it hit the 7 gig mark. And then it just went kaput. I was like, and I guarantee it's not my machine. If I log into my computer right now and I try to download something, it's going to do the exact same fucking thing. Hell, you know what? On the phone with him. I was like, I'm going to take my laptop downstairs. I'm going to plug it directly in to the router. I'm going to hardwire it. So there's no wireless bullshit involved. I said, we're going to hardwire it directly to you. That means the signal from your box to my computer. That's what we're doing right now. Oh, what's that? It's the exact same speed. It's weird. It's like you're throttling me. Quit throttling my shit. And eventually, after usually about 20 or 30 minutes, well, we'll see what we can do. I'm like, okay, if it ain't fixed in about half an hour, I'm calling you back. I hang up the phone, and I shit you not, within 5 minutes, speed goes back up. Weird. It's almost like you were throttling me. They absolutely throttle you, and it's fucking obnoxious, especially peak times. 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
They fuck you in the drive-thru.
Sorry, rant over. Fucking hate internet companies. If I could figure out how to do it, I'd start my own. I swear I would. But I don't own any lines.
Comcast.
They're the best internet provider, though.
In the area, because they're the only internet provider in the area that actually has speeds.
Yeah, and those speeds are bullshit anyway. Oh, yeah, we're going to release the 500 gig speed. Meanwhile, Europe's on, like, the fucking 3 gig network. I'm like, fuck you.
No, what I'm irritated is the cable provider down there. I'm not going to name it since you guys have so much fun with the title.
Cocks.
Huge
cocks.
they have gig internet, and gig internet was literally 500 feet from my house.
You had,
and they said $4,000 for them to run a line over to my house.
What you're saying is you had a gig with Cox. Was it a
No, I
was
don't.
it a big gig?
I don't. That's
Was
the
it a
problem.
filling gig?
It was over there. It was across the road.
Oh, so it was a close
So
gig.
the chicken didn't cross the road? Did the cock cross the road?
He had Cox across the road. It was a good gig. That's beautiful. Oh. Have we lost the show yet? All 45 listeners. These Cox jokes are getting old. So are you wrinkly old bitch.
Old cocks.
On that note,
Yeah, you missed us.
on that note, I'm getting ready to head back to Louisiana.
He's got to get home to those cocks.
I bet one of them's named Gator.
Bubba.
Anywho, this has been.
He's
If it wasn't live, I would have done edited this thing. Edited.
He'll never go live again.
I still hate the two words edited it put together. It just sounds so fucking. I edited it. And that's.
Yeah, that's.
It sounds awful. I hate those two words together. I edited the film. I edited it.
Edited. Enunciate. Edited.
See?
Jeez. Yeah, okay. That's horrendous. Yeah.
And that's how we're going to leave you. With edited cocks.
Anyway, this is Topher.
This is Crazy Curious.
Little Sonny.
I'll see you later.
Have a good night.